Welcome to 5-Star Boot Camp. This is awesome. Thank you for coming out. This is great. I will make my first promise right here. The coffee is coming. Our sweet Emma is stressed out right now, and it's not a problem. It is coming. So what we'll do is we'll have a flow here where I'll easily break, and you can get coffee and get caffeinated and get a second round of whatever you got going on stuff. But to introduce myself, here's what we're going to do. We're going to have, it's not going to be Paul and I presenting, droning out information to you. I mean, we could do a boot camp like that. I could be a drill sergeant and say, you're going to do this, you're going to do this, and be confrontational, but we're not going to do that. That's no fun. What we're going to do is we're going to share some kind of thoughts and ideas. And Paul and I have done this roadshow a couple times, one on the Lakeshore and one in Lansing. And it's been really great. And the great things about it is this is not rocket science. There's no secret sauce. But there is something that when you share your ideas and stuff, you get an energy with you. You get different ideas. I've been in real estate for 23 years, and there was something, every time I talk to someone, I'm just like, oh, I know about that, but there's a little twist there, and you learn, and that's how you do this. You're not going to build your whole business in this meeting, but what our goal is to get your minds thinking, get clicking, get some energy, and it's nice to see people again and be in public, right? And so all of that will all help us, and hopefully it'll give us like a kick in the rear, so to speak. And so some of you I know, some of you could do this seminar as I look around the room. Some of you I don't. My name is Leo Olson. I've been in real estate for 23 years. Probably for most of that, I was with 5-Star, and I did a mentor program, which is I would lean into new to industry agents and answer all the questions and show them how I did real estate. And my real estate career started, I'll just say this, if you're going to start real estate or maybe you're in a lull, you need to get obsessed again. That's the real key. And so my first year, I was very obsessed with real estate and did really well, but I tried everything. I mean, stuff that I hated. Cold calling, everything. I just said, I'm going to do this. I'm going to win. I'm going to provide for my family. I'm going to do this. No turning back. But I'll do whatever anything anyone tells me. If this works, I'm going to try it. Now, I don't do some of that stuff now because I've grown in a little bit, but I did try everything. But there was an obsession period of time, and hopefully what we are trying to do here is to go, hey, maybe we'll get inspired or get a little bit obsessed again like that. So we're gonna share some thoughts here. I tell you that not to brag. I tell you that because I don't know you guys. I don't know a lot of you, and so I'm just letting you know I've ran into some stuff, and I might have a good conversation piece or might share something, and hopefully you guys all have different experiences than me, and we'll be able to share that. And we'll have a time where we're going to break out. I'm going to ask you to go out of your comfort zone and sit by someone you don't know, because if you know them, you know what they do for business, but we need to mix it up a little bit and get different ideas. And then we're going to come together and we're going to source some of the better ideas, like the top ideas. Now, this seminar is called 100 Ways to Grow Your Business. We have a sheet. We'll give it to you at the end. We'll come through. We'll deliver. But there's actually, you have 100 ideas, but then there's 10 more ways to do it or tweak it in your personality and your kind of stuff. And so there's lots of ways to do it. But hopefully you guys will enjoy this. If it goes to crickets up here, like I'm throwing stuff out and you're not saying anything, I'm going to call you out by name. And if you know me, that's who I'm going to call. Right, Sue? Right? And so it's friendly. I just want to get some energy going and stuff like that. And we will break for coffee. That's my first promise, right? So I don't see it yet. So with that, that's kind of what we're going to do. And then we'll crowdsource some of this information. We'll challenge you again, and then we'll have an offering, and it will be a really good time. And so that's it. I would like to give it over to Paul Carlson, and he's going to, I guess, what are you going to talk about?
I don't know. I'm going to wing it here.
Our challenges and opportunities. That's what we talk about.
First off, I'm going to give this guy a shout out. So I got in the business in 2006. I'm Paul Carlson, by the way. So I've been in this business since 2006. And speaking of ways to grow a business, so Leo was my mentor in 2006. Yeah. So I show up, I'm out of college, I went to school for marketing, and I come home. I don't think I'm going to go into real estate. Here I am, though I'm licensed. And Leo has got this big Lincoln Town Car, was it?
Let me just tell you, just to add flavoring to this story, because I've heard this. my grandpa was a car mechanic at Grand Rapids Auto Mechanic for his whole life. Like, he lied to get into the military as a mechanic for Jeeps. He lied about his age. He was like 16. And he said that 1995 to 1997, the Lincoln Town Car was perfected.
So Leo pitches me on this whole.
That's why I have
in fact,
this
I remember
car.
this specifically. You said this is the ultimate realtor mobile.
Yeah.
And
was.
I'm like, okay, so I'm like, this car is 30 feet long, you know, it feels like you're riding on a cloud, you know, you hit a bump.
Perfect car.
You could hit a pothole you'd never know, this kind of thing. And you know, you remember like back then it was like suits you would wear were not very well fitted in 2006. It was kind of loose and flowing. So this was like a major vibe we had going on here. We're in this car. I was like, okay, so we're driving around. So he gets me in the car and we drive around and he sees a for sale owner and he's like, all right, jump on out. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Staring at this house and I'm like, I do not want to go do this. So I walk up the door, my heart's just like beating out of my chest as I'm walking up to this house. I knock, ring the doorbell, no one answers. I'm just like, oh, praise the Lord that no one came to the door. Because this was so uncomfortable for me. I did not want to do this. I was like, this is crazy. And so that was my introduction to real estate. Yeah. And it was awkward. And then the next few years of my life in real estate were a real major struggle for me. Because it was 2006. Anyone remember 2006, the market? Going like this. So, I mean, who knows how many houses are on the market right now in this area, Greater Grand Rapids? Is it about 500? So in 2007, 8, 9, there was like 16,000 available. Right? So yeah, pretty wild.
It's a different nightmare.
It was very,
it's a
very
different
bad.
nightmare.
But you know, it was interesting because as I'm this young person trying to find my way in the business, everyone was telling me what to do. It was like, get there early, wear a suit, stay late. You know, it was all these very like typical ways of doing the business. And for me, it wasn't until I actually walked away from real estate for about 6 months and I'd built a photography business. And I started feeling and experiencing this success in this photography thing. And I was like, why was this easy and this is pulling teeth? Like, why did this one just fall in my lap and it's like growth, 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 growth? And over here, I'm just like chasing. And I realized, like, then my wife was pregnant, and so I was looking at my life, I'm looking at my weekends, and I'm thinking that real estate's gonna be less stressful than photography.
Oh, yeah.
More weekends available.
Wow. Yeah, more weekends potentially available. Because I was busy doing photos, but what I did is I went back into real estate and I said, you know what I think I did in photography that worked for me is I did it my way. I built my business, I did it my way, I talked to my clients the way I wanted to talk to them. I wasn't taking advice from all these other realtors who still had Rolodexes on their desk or whatever it was, right? We were different eras. And so once I finally threw my own energy and my own ideas into the business, then it was like exponential growth for me. And I think when I was 27, 28, it was like, my best year was like 56 houses sold back in, I think we were probably like $140,000 average sales price marketplace, so about 8.5 million. So that's what happened, and I was like struggling to make $35,000 previously. So for me, once I tapped into what my skills were and who I was as a person was when my business just blew up. So that's kind of my story and how I got started in the business.
Yeah.
And all right, so
Tell the Urban Outfitter, though. That's a nice
okay,
story.
so you know, we were all using Microsoft. What's that publisher, right? And we're all grabbing templates out of publisher. You know, you're using beige and I'm using green and you're using whatever template they had for us. And at that point in time, I was like, all right, this is not working with my people. And so I think it was 2009. I spent $5,000 to hire Carson Brown. Some of you might know who he is. He's like a really talented artist now, but he built me a logo, a brand, a website. We took photos, and I lived in a mid-century modern house at the time. And so I did this whole thing in 2009, and I started getting calls saying, people would say to me, hey, we like your style. I'd like to work with you. Nothing to do with my success rate, nothing to do with my sales prices, nothing to do with like it was like we like what you're presenting to us. So that was really when I kind of like realized how important branding was in real estate back in 2009, and I just went for it hard, and it worked for me. Okay, so back to this boot camp here. I'm hopeful that today, each of us are gonna get off of our heels and onto our toes, because we're in a market right now that is really challenging. It's truly challenging, and I'll give you actual numbers on why it's challenging. But I'm hopeful that 1 to 2, 3 ideas